Have you ever taken a photo or maybe recorded a quick video on your phone?
Just capturing a completely normal everyday moment.
Right. But then a few days later, you're scrolling back through your camera roll and you look really closely at the background.
And you spot something.
Something that absolutely unequivocally was not there when you recorded it.
Like a strange shadow or...
Or a figure standing just out of focus.
Oh, I hate that feeling. You get that immediate cold chill right down your spine.
Exactly. You start questioning your own memory. You start questioning your own eyes.
Like, did I just miss that?
Right. But what if that chill isn't just a trick of the light? What if the camera actually caught something that your biological eyes simply couldn't process?
That is such a creepy thought.
It is. And today we are taking a deep dive into a legendary piece of Taiwanese folklore known as the Little Girl in Red.
Yes.
And we'll be exploring what happens when modern technology captures something the human eye entirely misses.
It's just a fascinating collision of worlds. I mean, our mission for this deep dive is to really unpack how a very simple, incredibly mundane piece of home footage from 1998 collided head-on with ancient mountain lore.
Yeah, the intersection of analog recording equipment and these deeply rooted cultural beliefs.
Exactly. What we really need to figure out is what actually happens when a mechanical lens captures an anomaly that the human being standing in the exact same place completely failed to see.
It's wild. We have historical sightings, a breakdown of psychological warfare, and a bizarre, contradictory modern encounter to piece together.
And we should probably let our guest know what he's in for today, too.
Oh, absolutely. Hey, Chancellor.
He's already pacing around the studio.
Yeah, our husky friend here might need a few extra pets to get through this one. Let's start right in the thick of it, though, back in March of 1998.
Okay, set the scene for us.
So the setting here is crucial. We are in Taiwan, specifically with a family from Taichung City heading out to the decking hiking trails.
Right.
Now the trails in the Baden district are usually just packed.
Packed with families trying to escape the city heat, right?
Exactly. It's this dense, twisting mountain canopy, but it's deeply integrated into local recreation.
It's the kind of place you go to just be under the trees, listen to the birds, and have a wholesome afternoon.
Right. It's not some forbidden, spooky forest. And since it is the late 90s, someone in this family brings along a V8 camcorder.
Oh, wow, the old V8s.
Yeah, they wanted to document the hike.
That camcorder is really the catalyst for everything that follows. Because the context of this footage is just so important.
Tell me about it.
Well, this wasn't a paranormal investigation.
Right.
Nobody was out there looking for an encounter. They were filming themselves laughing, walking single file up the trail, just enjoying a beautiful day in the woods.
Nothing out of the ordinary at all.
Exactly. There were no sudden drops in temperature, no strange sounds, no feelings of being watched.
Just a totally normal family outing.
They did the hike, they packed up their car, ate dinner, and completely moved on with their lives. The tape they recorded just ended up sitting quietly on a shelf, totally unwatched.
Right, it's just a black plastic cassette gathering dust. But then the story takes a sudden, violent turn.
Yeah, this part is so sad.
A few weeks after that hike, one of the men who was there, a guy who was heavily featured on that very tape, laughing and walking with his relatives, he dies unexpectedly.
Just out of nowhere.
Yeah, accounts point to a sudden heart attack, but regardless of the medical terminology, it was incredibly abrupt. One day he is perfectly fine, and the next, he is gone.
Oh, the family is understandably devastated.
Yeah.
I mean, they are grieving, and after the funeral, they gathered together.
As families do.
Right. And somebody remembers they have this V8 tape from just a few weeks prior. It's a natural impulse, you know. When you lose someone, suddenly you want to see them alive again, moving and smiling.
It makes total sense.
So they pull the tape off the shelf,
Yeah.
pop it into the player, and press play. They're really just looking for some comfort in their grief.
But they get the exact opposite.
Complete opposite.
They are watching this footage, watching their loved one, and then someone notices the background. In almost every single frame of this hiking footage, walking silently behind the family group is a little girl.
Just right there behind them.
Right there. And she is wearing a very vivid, bright red dress.
Whoa, loud bark there, Chancellor. Even the dog is saying no thank you to that visual.
Yeah, I don't blame him, buddy. The contrast is what makes it so jarring. A bright red dress against the gray-green backdrop of a dense mountain forest.
It would stand out instantly on a screen.
And she isn't just wandering around in the distance. She is walking step for step with the group. Never falling behind, just locked onto them. Usually the scariest thing on a 90s home video is the fashion choices. But this is a whole different level.
Seriously, though, How does a family of hikers just miss a bright red dress in a completely green forest?
That is the core of the mystery.
It highlights a massive disconnect between recorded reality and lived reality. I mean, the family is sitting in their living room watching this bright red figure follow them on the television screen, and the horrifying realization sets in.
Not a single person saw her on the mountain.
Not one. There wasn't a single glance in her direction. No one asked, like, hey, who is that kid walking behind us?
No passing thoughts whatsoever.
To the human beings navigating that trail, she simply did not exist. The human brain, for whatever reason, just filtered her out.
But the camera didn't.
Exactly. The mechanical eye of the VA camcorder, which obviously doesn't have a biological brain to manipulate, saw her perfectly. It just captured the light bouncing off of her.
And it is not just the visual of the girl that shook them.
Oh, right.
When they started looking more closely at the footage, specifically zooming in on the face of the man who had just passed away, they noticed something was deeply wrong with him too.
This part really gets me.
His expression in the video looked unnatural, distorted.
Yeah.
People who watched the tape swore they could see the faint outline of fangs at the corners of his mouth.
Long curling fangs on a completely normal human being.
Yeah.
He certainly did not have fangs in real life.
Yeah.
If we look at the implications of that distortion, it changes the entire dynamic of the video.
How so?
Well, it suggests that whatever was following them, whatever this entity in the red dress was, had already fundamentally altered him on some level. The camera wasn't just capturing a hidden figure stalking them in the woods. It was capturing a hidden truth about the man himself.
So you're saying it implies the entity had marked him?
Yes. And the magnetic tape was somehow capable of picking up that supernatural corruption before it manifested as his sudden physical death weeks later.
That is chilling. So they have a tape showing a mysterious stalker and their deceased loved one looking demonic.
Right.
They don't just put the tape back on the shelf. They take this footage straight to a local television station.
As you would.
And this wasn't just blindly put on the air. Video analysts actually looked at it. They authenticated the tape.
Which in 1998 meant something very specific. Authenticating analog V8 tape involves checking for magnetic splicing, looking for double exposure tricks, or seeing if the tape casing had been tampered with.
And what did they find?
The analysts concluded it was raw, unaltered footage.
Wow.
The camera genuinely recorded what was in front of the lens. The television station broadcast the footage, and overnight, this mysterious little girl in red becomes a massive phenomenon. It forces a physical confrontation with a myth.
Wait, but if the family member just handed the tape over to the news station, why is there a second death linked to this?
Because the entity's reach seemingly didn't stop at the hiker.
Oh, no.
Shortly after the tape was authenticated and handed over for broadcast, the specific family member who physically drove the tape to the television station was killed in a car crash.
You're kidding.
Much like the first death, there was no clear explanation, no warning, just a sudden violent end.
2 deaths. 2 different people, both directly linked to the physical handling of this single V8 camcorder tape.
It really bridges the gap between a campfire ghost story and tangible physical evidence.
But why a little girl? That is the part I can't shake. An entity capable of this kind of violence choosing to look like a child in a bright red dress feels so specific.
It is specific. And to understand the why, we have to look at the geography and the deep cultural history of Taiwan's mountains.
Okay.
Local mountain communities have a name for entities that operate in this exact manner. They call them the Moshenzi.
The Moshenzi.
It translates loosely to the demon of the lost. And what is crucial to understand about the Moshenzi is that they are not apex predators that jump out of the bushes to physically maul you.
Right.
They don't have claws and teeth in the traditional sense. They prey entirely on the mind.
So their whole strategy is psychological warfare.
Exactly.
They haunt these deep mountain trails where the canopy is thick and it's incredibly easy to get turned around, and they wear disguises.
To lure people in.
Right. And a lost child or a helpful stranger is the perfect disguise. It is a form designed to bypass our natural threat detection. You see a bear, you run.
But you see a little girl in the woods, your instinct is to approach, to help to drop your guard.
The folklore tells us the Moshenzi operates by creating complex sensory illusions. It doesn't want to chase its victims, it wants to confuse them. It wants to make the terrifying, dangerous depths of the forest feel safe and welcoming. It manipulates perception until the victim is so utterly lost that they cannot find their way back to civilization.
And this next part is wild. I read something in the notes about rescue teams finding hikers who had encountered a Moshenzi.
Yeah.
And they were found eating.
Dirt.
Is that real?
It is a widely reported element of the lore. Hikers who survive these encounters recount wandering the trails and suddenly being approached by someone, often a small girl.
Okay.
And this girl offers them food, not just a simple snack, but a massive, warm, generous feast.
Oh, I see.
When you are exhausted, dehydrated, and lost on a trail, an offer like that is impossible to refuse.
You'd take it in a heartbeat.
The hikers accept. They sit down, they eat this incredible meal, and they feel completely full, warm, and entirely taken care of. They believe they have found safety.
Wow. Calm down, Chancellor. I know, buddy. That low growl is exactly how I feel about this, too.
Yeah, he senses the twist coming. Because the reality is completely different. When rescue teams finally locate these missing hikers, they are found deep in the forest, miles off any marked trail.
And they aren't sitting at a table eating a banquet.
No. The rescuers find them crouched on the forest floor, frantically eating mud, chewing on leaves, and swallowing insects.
Oh, that is a profound violation of reality.
It really is.
This is why the Moshenzi is so feared among those who live near the mountains. If a wild animal attacks you, you can trust your senses. The adrenaline kicks in and you fight or flee.
Right.
But the Moshenzi turns your own biology against you. It hijacks your visual cortex, your taste buds, your sense of safety.
You think you are tasting warm rice, but you are swallowing wet dirt. You think you are being cared for by a sweet child, but you are being lured into the most dangerous part of the wilderness by a demon.
It's the ultimate betrayal of your own mind. Walking in the woods feeling totally secure, but it's all a synthetic illusion. The psychological shock of waking up from that illusion, realizing you were eating dirt in the dark, would be devastating.
Absolutely devastating.
And that completely reframes the 1998 video. That little girl wasn't just wandering behind them.
She was a Moshenzi stalking the family, masking her presence from their biological minds.
But she couldn't hide from the raw, unthinking lens of the V8 camera.
The camera couldn't be hypnotized.
Exactly. But what makes this folklore so complex is that the narrative of the little girl in red doesn't end in the 90s.
Oh, right.
Folklore isn't static. It evolves, and it continues to interact with the real world in ways that challenge everything we just established.
Because we have to jump forward 16 years to a completely different encounter.
We go to the year 2014.
We are in the exact same mountain range where the 1998 video was shot.
Right.
And an 80-year-old woman vanishes without a trace. No warning. She just wanders off into the dense canopy.
Consider the physiological reality of an 80-year-old woman lost in a dense mountain forest. It is a dire, life-threatening situation within hours.
The 5 entire days pass.
5 days. Search teams are combing the hiking trails and the weather turns hostile.
It is pouring rain.
The conditions are brutal. Statistically, the human body at that age cannot survive hypothermia and dehydration for 5 days exposed to those elements. It is physiologically impossible.
But on the 5th day, the search teams find her.
Unbelievable.
And not only is she alive, she is completely unharmed. Rescuers found her just sitting calmly on a mossy rock in the forest, looking as though she was simply waiting for a bus.
Wow.
She wasn't shivering, she wasn't in distress.
Which defies all medical logic.
Completely.
But her explanation of how she survived brings the legend roaring back to the surface.
Oh, yeah, it does.
When the rescue teams asked her how she managed to survive 5 days in the freezing rain out there all alone, she just smiled at them.
Yeah, she said she wasn't alone. She told them a little girl had been with her the entire time.
The woman claimed this little girl held a red umbrella over both of their heads for 5 days, guiding her through the rain, keeping her warm, and keeping her safe.
And the woman noted that the little girl never spoke a single word to her. She just pointed. She showed the elderly woman where to walk to avoid steep drops, led her away from danger, and simply stayed by her side.
But of course, when the rescue team finally arrived, and the woman turned around to introduce her savior, to show them the little girl with the red umbrella,
there was no one there.
No one there. The girl had vanished the exact moment the woman was safe.
My mind just gets totally tied in knots trying to reconcile this. Let's look at the two events side by side.
Okay, let's do it.
In 1998, the little girl in red is captured on camera. She is completely unseen by the family. She is associated with demonic fangs on a man's face, and her appearance is directly linked to 2 sudden, unexplained deaths.
She operates like a classic, terrifying Moshenzi marking people for doom.
That is the dark, predatory side of the folklore. But then we look at 2014. A highly vulnerable 80-year-old woman is lost in the exact same woods. This time, the little girl in red, or an entity associated with the color red, doesn't lure her off a cliff or make her eat mud. Instead, she shields her from the elements with a red umbrella and safely guides her until help arrives.
It's a deeply protective guardian spirit behavior.
So how do we make sense of that? Is the little girl in red a demon, or is she a tragic, protective spirit looking out for the vulnerable?
It forces us to rethink how we categorize these entities. Myths and legends are rarely binary.
That's very true.
They are complex reflections of the environment they come from. If we view the Moshenzi as an embodiment of the mountain forest itself, well, the forest is entirely contradictory.
How do you mean?
The wilderness can provide food, shelter, and profound beauty, but it can also be merciless, confusing, and deadly.
Ah, I see.
Perhaps the little girl in red reflects the nature of the person she encounters, or perhaps there are multiple entities adopting similar forms. We want to neatly categorize things as good or evil because it makes us feel safe, but ancient lore rarely gives us that satisfaction.
It reminds us that the world is wilder and stranger than our rigid categories allow.
Exactly.
The wildness of it all is what keeps the story alive and evolving. So to recap our journey today, we have navigated a mystery that literally bridged the gap between late 90s home video technology and centuries-old tales of the Moshenzi.
We saw a mundane family hike turn into a national phenomenon just because a V8 camcorder saw what the human brain filtered out.
We explored the terrifying psychological warfare of the demon of the lost, tricking hikers into eating dirt while dreaming of a warm feast. Good boy, Chancellor, we're almost done with the scary part.
He's been such a trooper. And we ended with the quiet, lingering mystery of an elderly woman kept safe in a freezing storm by a ghost with a red umbrella.
When we step back and look at why these stories endure, why they resonate so deeply, it is because they tap into primal fears.
First, the fear of the deep woods. That ancestral understanding that once you step off the paved path, you are no longer at the top of the food chain and the rules of civilization no longer apply.
It's a scary thought.
But more importantly for our modern lives, it taps into the unsettling realization of our own biological limits.
Wow.
We rely entirely on our eyes and ears to tell us what is real.
Right.
But stories like the 1998 tape remind us that our biology has massive blind spots. Our senses are constantly editing the world for us. We are never really seeing the whole picture.
Our brains are just filtering reality, keeping us sane, but missing the anomalies. Which brings me to a final thought for you to mull over today.
Leave them with something good.
Think about the devices you carry with you every single day. Your smartphone, your laptop webcam, your security cameras.
Yeah.
We use them constantly to document our lives, completely trusting that they're just mirroring what we see. But smartphones today have multiple lenses, AI processing, and computational photography.
That's true.
If a simple, raw 1998 camcorder lens had the unblinking objective ability to capture things that our biological eyes simply could not process, what else might be captured in your camera roll right now, hidden behind an AI filter? The next time you record a quick video in an empty room, ask yourself, what might be standing right behind you, just out of frame, waiting for you to press play?